Mall Santas of Reddit. What is the weirdest thing a kid asked for Christmas? Many years ago, a small girl would not tell her mother what she wanted for Christmas. Mom told me the problem and I was to tell her after the kid jumped off my lap. The little girl hopped up and told me she wanted some makeup and some tits. Okay, now I have to tell mom. I'm a teacher. I had one of my most difficult, obstinate, button pusher kids come in at recess to talk to me. He said he was worried he would not get what he really wanted, to be a real elf, move to the North Pole and make all the presents. He had tears in his eyes and was the most sincere I had ever seen. Made me really appreciate how hard life was at home. He just wished for a way out. Reindeer eggs so he could start his own franchise. After waiting 2 hours in line, my daughter asked Santa for a hot dog. I was an assistant manager for a mall Santa with no programs. There was a special needs 20-something black guy that would come by nearly every day. He easily weighed more than 250 pounds, so we did eventually convince him to sit next to Santa instead of on his lap. Every time he had to remind Santa what he wanted for Christmas. His list was Home Alone on DVD, Straight Outta Compton on DVD, and Prince's 1999 album on CD. Santa was awesome and brought him the Prince CD a few days before Christmas. During college, I was a department store Santa. One little girl, with her mother looking on at a distance, whispered, "Please bring a boyfriend for mommy. Ever since daddy died she's been so lonely. That's what I really want for Christmas, Santa." I looked up at her loving mother, and back at the girl, and felt a lump in my throat. So literally last night we took my kids to see Santa, and when asked what she wants for Christmas she says, "A surprise." Santa was so surprised he didn't know what to say. My uncle was a Santa and he told me that one year a kid asked for a coffee maker because he wanted to start his own Starbucks coffee stand instead of a lemonade stand. Apparently business was not very good as a lemonade stand, but he noticed a lot of adults drink coffee, so he'd make coffee. That kid is probably a millionaire now. I know the weirdest thing I asked for was a pen that could write like a pen, pencil, marker, and crayon. I'd never seen one but was sure Santa could make it. I got a 4-color pen instead. Was a Santa at a party last week. A kid asked for a whistle that she could blow at night to wake her mom up and scare her when she was sleeping. I said no. That would put you on the naughty list. Let your mom sleep, you little gremlin. Mom laughed. I worked in Russia as snow maiden. This is a Christmas character here. Santa Claus' granddaughter. One of the children in a wheelchair asked to walk again. It was hard. UPD. For peoples who wanted funny answer. In my practice was a boy who wanted a girlfriend. He was 5-6 years. Not a mall Santa, my friend was one. He said that the weirdest thing he heard from a kid was a husband for his mom. Not a Santa, but I have been a MRS Claus for the last few years and I always ask the kids what they want while we do our crafts. My favorite was this 4-5-year-old girl that told me she wanted one of those loud horns. She made a gesture like she was using those canned air horns and she made a little horn sound. She said she wants to use it to wake up her baby brother when he naps in the daytime so he knows what it's like. Not a Santa, but when I was 4 I asked Santa to get rid of my dad's cancer. Santa cried. Mom cried. I was confused. Dad died on Christmas that year. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Guess dad finally got me something for Christmas. When he was feeling better my Phil looked just like a real Santa. I used to mess with him around Christmas when we were out and about with a quick Rudolph needs to get back to the pole. We need to hurry. I got a lot of really great looks from kids. The best was a shy little girl that came up and asked for some specific doll. Without missing a beat he says, "I'm not sure what the heck that is, but I'll have Legolas look into it." He always acted grumpy about it, but we all know he loved every second. Edit. Thanks for the silver. I love reading these stories. I'll have to share them with him. For me to stop upholding this charade. I was a Santa in 1997 for a small, authentic Old West village. I was 17 at the time and doing some local theater, and the costume lady was asked to find someone to be Santa for the weekend. She told me she thought of me because, well, you're not fat, but you're big. I'm 6 feet 6, 1.98. So I put on a cheap costume that didn't fit well and the beard smelled like the last Santa threw up in it. And I waited in a prop shed in the plaza that was normally a sheriff office or something. Tall, skinny, smelly Santa in a shed sitting on a plastic lawn chair. It was no wonder all the children screamed when they were put on my lap. None of them asked for anything in fact, as they were too busy being scared of me. I had a pair of girls and later a pair of guys from the local Christian high school dressed as elves on the first day to take Polaroids and collect money. On the second day they flaked and I was by myself all day. I charged people money to enter my creepy shed and take pictures of their own kids. Except for one young lady who was probably older than me and severely mentally disabled. Her parents were so apologetic because she was too old, but she sat on my lap and smiled at me with total naked joy. I can still see her face 20 years later. Not a mall Santa, but once my sister asked Santa if she could have a horse's head and an ice cream cone. She explained that she was gonna paint the ice cream cone the color of the horse, stick it on, mount the horse's head to the wall and tell her friends she killed a unicorn. She doesn't remember. I'm not a mall Santa, but I heard this kid say, "Six doll, you should have seen his parents' face." I once asked Santa for my parents to get a divorce. My 3-year-old son asked Santa once for a baby rhino. Santa told him that the baby rhino's mama would be very sad to lose her baby though. Then my son said, "Okay, well I'll take the mama too. Maybe she can sleep in my mom's bed." I once asked for bread with no crust. Come Christmas Day, I actually got an entire loaf of bread with no crust. Not a Santa but an elf. I read a letter, maybe I shouldn't have, from a child who asked for a dolphin. Specifically not autistic. Not sure if he had had a bad experience with disabled dolphins or what, but he was about 6 years old. Obligatory not me, but about one of my really good friends who is a lumberjack of a man. 6'4", 250 plus, giant beard type of man. He got a Christmas crop top sweater so his entire stomach was out. Got hammered. Went to the mall and asked Santa for a fifth of whiskey and some bad itches lol. The video circulates a little more each year, but it makes me laugh every time because the Santa has no idea how to react. Edit. Here is the video. When I was a kid I asked for a Komodo dragon. Not the weirdest, but my favorite thing I have heard a kid ask for. At my daughter's preschool, there was a Santa. Kids were asking for the usual things, like toys and unicorns. One little girl goes up. You can tell she is thinking really hard. She asks for 2 rolls of tape. Dream big, kid. So I'm from the Netherlands, and we have Sinterklaas, basically the origin from Santa. It had some controversy worldwide last couple of years, and one kid wanted a gun. We have strict gun laws. No way that's gonna happen. My 9 years old kid asked for light bulbs. I am sure Santa wasn't expecting that. I once asked for an elf to keep as a slave. Not Santa. My kid, when he was younger, had a habit of visiting Santa once to ask for gifts, and then a few more times during the season just to say hi. Mom, can I see Santa? There's no kids over there and he looks lonely, so I could hang out with him. Santa came to daycare. I didn't ask him for presents. I just reminded him that I was good this year. There was a joke a radio host told that I heard about 10 years ago or so, and there was a mall Santa and this kid. And the kid wanted a Tonka truck that had a hitch or crane hook or something. And when it comes time to tell Santa what he wants, the kid says, "I want a truck with a hooker." Not technically a mall Santa, but my neighbor was a Santa for a community brunch years ago and a little girl asked for a cheeseburger. Not that odd on its own I suppose, but an odd request for the holiday and from such an important and magically being. Not a mall Santa, but a child asked for his parents to love him dearly. It's weird how young kids know so much and can pick up signals easy mental. The only pet I ever had was a goldfish, so I won't know. Not me but my dad. A kid asked for his mom's milk, he was like 7. Not a Santa, not even an elf. But my older sister is an elf this year, and a 6-year-old boy said that he just wanted Man United to win the league. What's best is that the Santa said, "I can't work miracles now, kid." I'm not a mall Santa, I'm the thing that the kid asked for. My sister asked for a sibling. 9 months later, she got a gift. Me. She should have asked for a different gift. Worked as an elf for a couple years and we had this wish jar that you could put slips of paper in. A little girl wrote something down on a piece of paper and folded it and quietly slipped it into the jar. The mom came rushing back after they left asking if we could get the paper out of the jar for her. She unfolded it and in crayon it said, "I want dad to come home." The mother started crying and took it with her. Got some other weird and sad ones, but that one hit me right in the feels. My kid asked Santa for Thor's hammer. Christmas morning he opens up Thor's hammer. So happy. First thing he did was chuck it across the living room and into the kitchen. Dishes smash. Glass all over the floor. Kid was ducking, pissed it didn't come back to him. The look on his face. Pure Christmas devastation. I once had a boy who said he wanted to be married and have 100 kids so he could have 100 friends. And no one can say no to being his friend. A Red Ryder carbine action 200 shot range model air rifle. I don't have a story. Just wanted to share that my local mall will have a Santa that can speak sign language for kids hard of hearing completely deaf. I think that's absolutely wonderful and it makes my heart feel warm. Yesterday the big sister asked for a pet mouse. The little sister asked for a snake. When I was 5 years old, 49 years ago, I asked a Santa in JCPenney's at the time for a real lawnmower, the kind that my dad uses. They had me hold a microphone up to my mouth. My answer, along with every other kid I presume, was broadcast throughout the whole store. I can still hear the laughter from the adults. Worked as a Santa elf before. Sad part is low income neighborhood areas. Being in a large city is great, but with it come more problems. Sister-in-law was working with us at school function local mall where they held the Santa thing. Downright worst things that make you sad. One kid wanted a door because police broke his to arrest his dad and took him away. Also wanted dad back. One kid wanted her uncle to stop touching her at night. One other kid wanted running water and food for the house because mommy didn't have any. I have never volunteered to work there again, and yes, we did report these things to police as they happened, so there was some good. But damn. One time I was working as Santa in a mall, and a kid asked for new parents because quote, they yell all night. I have no idea where that kid is now. I saw one ask for Santa's corpse while I was at the mall. Okay, one time I asked for coal, like, I didn't know where to get some. We had a gas fireplace. I wanted it in order to make a face on a snowman. We celebrate Christmas Eve with a large family gathering, traditional Polish food, and Santa. Either an uncle or unknown neighbor gets the honors. Drunk uncles and cousins end up on the roof. There have been injuries, making reindeer stomping noises, and the young kids really get excited. I'm mid-50s and this has been a tradition well before I was born. I have a ton of stories about Santa on Christmas Eve. One of the most memorable a few years ago when one of my cousin's kids played Santa. His girlfriend went up to sit on Santa's lap and get a gift. She didn't know it was him at first. The gift she opened was her ring and he proposed. It was really sweet, but it took her forever to say yes. I thought for a few minutes she was going to say no, in front of his entire extended family. So Santa got his wish this time. Another cousin ended up becoming a professional Santa. Real beard and all. He is the official Santa of some major Christmas events in our area and is on local TV and radio. Off topic. Sorry. I just love the fact this is my family member. He's an Uber driver as well and drives in full Santa garb during the holidays. I love my family nah. This ended up being really long and I kinda ramble on in parts, so here's a TLDR. I was made to play Santa at my unit's Christmas party. A kid asked for mommy's cancer to be gone and I told her to be a good kid and trust mommy's doctors, and that if she did, Santa would help mommy's doctors and mommy would have a better chance of beating cancer. 9 months later, mommy is given the all clear. When I was in the army, I stayed back for Christmas one year because I wanted to save my leave time for when I got out so I could max out terminal leave. The rear detachment first sergeant volunteered me to play Santa at the unit's Christmas party for everyone else that stayed back. I'm a big guy, so it made sense to ask me. I figured hanging out with the kids would be better than talking to drunken co's and officers who could ruin my life if they wanted. Our squadron operations officer, a Major 04, came up to me about when I was done playing Santa and was gonna sneak off to my barracks room. He told me his wife had recently been diagnosed with cancer and he was pretty sure their kids would ask me to get rid of mom's cancer. He asked if I was comfortable dealing with that and I said sure. He and his wife bring them over. We take a picture and then I ask their daughter what she wants for Christmas. First thing she said to me was, "Mommy is really sick. Santa, she has cancer." I don't remember word for word, but here's a close recreation of what I said. "I can do a lot of great magical things, but even I can't cure cancer all on my own. I need you to be strong for mommy. Always show her that you love her. Help her around the house if she needs it. Be there for your little brother. He's too young to understand all of this. Trust mommy's doctors. They know what they're doing and they're trying their absolute best to heal mommy. And if it all becomes too much, don't hold it in. Talk to daddy, or maybe an uncle or aunt. They'll understand and appreciate how strong you are and they'll help you. If you can promise to do all of that, I promise to talk to mommy's doctors and help them as best I can." She nodded and said okay throughout my little speech and gave me one of the best hugs of my entire life when I was done. I tried to avoid any phrasing that gave certainty. I didn't want mom to pass away and this girl's image of Santa to be destroyed. Losing mom would be enough. Might as well try to preserve Santa for her. Later that following year, when I was out processing from the army, I had to go to his office and get some paperwork stamped. He asked me to sit down and told me his wife had recently been given the all clear. She had beat her cancer. He said their daughter told his wife's doctors what Santa told her and that the doctors said Santa called and told them where to look for the cancer. He didn't even bother checking whether or not I had actually done what I needed for out processing. He just stamped my papers. When I was leaving, he gave me a hug and offered to be a reference for when I needed to find a civilian job. Edit. Here's a funnier one from earlier in the night for everyone saying this is making them cry. Little boy, maybe 7 or 8. His dad was a SGT in a different troop. I was in C troop. He was in B troop. I'm not hitting you. He asked me for a BB gun. A Christmas Story is the first thing that came to mind. I shot his dad a look and he had a eating grin on his face. "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." My dad said the same thing. "What else do you want? An M2A3 Bradley fighting vehicle." I shoot his dad another look and now he's laughing his ass off. "You'll blow the whole neighborhood up, kid." And I sent him over to his dad, who was almost keeled over in laughter by that point. Not a mall Santa, but my younger brother asked Santa if he could bring our parents back together into a marriage. When I was a little kid, about 3-4 years old, I told a mall Santa that I wanted blue juice for Christmas. The Santa looked at my mom like, "WTF does he mean by this?" And my mom was just as clueless as he was. My mom, being awesome, went out and got Hugs juice, and only gave me the blue ones on Christmas. Think these. To this day, I have no clue why I wanted the blue juice. I just knew I wanted it. So that's what I told Santa. You bet your ass that I drank every last one of those things. Did the mall Santa thing a couple of decades ago. 2 exceptionally overweight women sat on my lap and promptly stated that Santa never had it so good. I did not feel the need or the desire to ask what they were asking for. Less than shut more than. My brother asked for Minecraft once. Pretty innocent. Only the Santa misheard him. He thought he said Mein Kampf. Not a Santa, but I personally remember once asking for a goat and a sniper rifle. It's been a long family tradition. My grandpa and dad were both mall Santas. I had my first season last year. Don't know if I'm going to do it again. Weirdest thing a kid asked for. This really dirty child who was wearing urine-soaked sweatpants sat on my lap last year. He asked for a bag of wiggly rice. I asked him what wiggly rice was. Apparently it's the rice found on a piece of chicken he found in his backyard. He said it was yummy. I remember hearing the girl in front of me in line when I was at the mall as a kid say she wanted potatoes. I hated potatoes at the time, so I was repulsed. He asked for new eyes. Thought I misheard him. In the whole rush and bustle of activity, I hadn't even really looked at the boy. Now, tilting my head down, I stared into his hollow orbits, underneath which he gave a serene smile. I literally screamed and instinctively tossed him from my lap. He stumbled onto one of my elves who had a similar reaction. I felt like such a piece of it after only a few seconds had passed. The parents, who also had no eyes, were furious, especially the father who threatened to sue. But the boy just whispered sadly, "It's okay, Dad. In another life." I was the kid. Didn't ask for anything, but I have a relevant story. When I was like 5, we went to see Santa. This Santa just happened to be an ass. My sly 5-year self slipped him a 5 and told him to give me better presents than my brothers. He took the money. I told my dad a while later. He kept the A5. 5-year me was devastated to hear that was one of Santa's helpers and not the real one. Not a mall Santa, but I took my kids to some Christmas Wonderland thing last year and they had to write a wish on a star and hang it on a giant Christmas tree. I took a look at some of them and some kid had written, "Sai wish to break my arm."